I always start at the piano. I think it was Claude Debussy who said, "When I compose, I think of all the music I know and I leave out what I don't like." So
Okay.
I think of all the music that I've spent so much time listening to and loving, and then I try to just start with a blank slate and just improvise and try different things until something catches fire. I always tell my students, I don't always follow my own advice, but so week one of them writing a new piece, like come back next week with at least 5 ideas. Like every day, just start over and just come up with something new, and see what you come up with. So I try to do that myself. Like this week, no pressure on myself at all. I'm just gonna sketch ideas, and I'm gonna try to enjoy just not knowing what I'm doing, and not knowing where this thing is going.
Without knowing what piece it's attached to, like
No, I'm writing for a specific
Oh, okay, so it's
player.
still like a specific project,
Yeah.
but you're not saying, okay, the first idea I come up with
Yeah.
is the idea.
Yeah, I saw a John Cleese interview, a lecture on YouTube on the creative process, and I thought it was a
Monty
great.
Python actor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a comedian. He said there's the open mind and there's the closed mind, and when you create music, you go in or create art, you go into this open mind where there's no wrong answers. You can do whatever you want. You're just playing with an idea like the way a little kid would play with a bug, on the playground. You're just like, what happens if it goes backwards? Or what if this chord is underneath it? Or maybe if it goes this way or that way? And you're just playing with it. You're not really trying to accomplish anything. He said the most creative people can stay in the open mind the longest, where they don't really know what they're doing. So they get comfortable with not knowing what they're doing, and they're okay with the discomfort of not knowing where things are going. And he says, you're in the open mind and you're just trying different things. And then once you find something you like, you go into the closed mind and you do it. Now you develop it, you work on that one idea. And then at a certain point, you're like, let me just step back now, go back into the open mind and just kind of assess what I did. Maybe it's a week later or something, or maybe it's later that same day. And then you're going back and forth. You're in the open mind, you're in the closed mind, where you're actually developing. And that's what I try to do with each piece I write. I mean, I always tell myself at the beginning, I don't need to accomplish finding the idea today, because I have all week to just keep trying to find new ideas. I'm just taking the pressure off myself, because it's so much weight on your back. I'm like, I need to find that
absolutely.
thing, and I have to find that thing.
It has to be a masterpiece every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I mean, that open mind idea, I haven't heard it described that way. Because I've heard it described as the flow state, but the closed mind part of it you're talking about is something different, which I haven't heard of before.
yeah, I'll send you a link to his to that. I typed it all up, and I make my students read it, because to me it's a great composition lesson. To not feel like you have to come up with the big idea on this very morning,
Right.
because it might take longer. Some things take longer. As you get older and you look back at all the pieces that you've written, some of them kind of rise to the top, and some of them are like, I don't think I need to hear that one again. That's a reality for me. It's like I have a big folder of discarded pieces that
So you actually discard pieces.
I do, because I'm just like, I don't want anybody to play that. I'm not going to put that on my website.
Yeah.
Because if somebody asked for that score, I'd be like, oh, I really would want to make some tweaks to that.
You have that urge.
Yeah, because it's not, it's like how I was hearing music at that point. It's maybe that piece I wrote, but it was on the way to the next piece, and so I don't regret writing it. Because it
So
helped
that's my attitude.
it helped me get to the next thing. Right now, there's a choral piece that I wrote a couple years ago. They're going to finally get to it because COVID just shut the whole thing down. And I went back to it just this week, and I'm like, oh yeah, I need to change a couple things on this. It was a choir piece, and I was dividing the parts so much. I was trying to do too much, and I'm like, choir music is about melodies. It's not about always constantly having to divide and have all these different parts happening. For this particular piece, it made sense. It's a fast piece. It made sense to clear out some things, and it sounds
Was this
better.
the piece you sent me, or was it a different piece?
That's a different piece.
Okay.
It's for that same choir.
Well, let's hear the piece that you sent me,
Yeah.
because I really, really love this piece. So again, it's different, but you can still have that thread of connectivity that you do in all your pieces. This is a piece called A Hymn to God the Father for chorus, piano, and organ. And I have here 2022. Is that correct? So you just written, fresh off the press.
Just did that one.
And the part I'm going to play is, so what you're going to hear is not the choir, and it's going to be this like duo of the organ with the celesta stop doubled with the piano,
Right.
and then it goes to the choral moment.
Okay.
So let's hear a couple minutes of that.